Hey everybody, it's Jalen here, officially kicking off my ministry, and I am so glad to be here today. I'm so glad for whoever's joining, who's watching the replay. Today is the opening service, so I have today I'm going to share with you guys my testimony. I'm going to share with you how I got here and what God has done in my life to where I'm even able to walk in my purpose and what He's called me to do. And I'm so grateful for the trials, for the tribulations, for the nights of praying, for fasting, and I am so happy to be here today. I'm so happy to be with you guys, and I just can't wait for what God has in store for me, for you guys, and what I'm gonna be able to help you guys with, teach you guys, and I'm just so grateful once again to be here today. So I'm just gonna first start off, I'm gonna go into my testimony, just a brief kind of overview of that. I'm gonna also go over, how I got saved and my salvation process, because my testimony is posted here on Facebook on my personal page. If you guys wanna go check that out. I don't post a lot there, so it should be easy to find. But yeah, so with my testimony, I'm gonna give like more of a brief overview, but I'm gonna get into salvation and what my process has been like that has led me to this point, because it hasn't been easy. It's been, it hasn't been difficult, but it hasn't been easy. There's been trials, there's been things that I've had to go through, things that I had to push through, had to suffer through, but I am grateful to be here today. So first things first, so everyone knows my name is Jalen. I am 20 years old, and welcome to Destiny Daughters. It's been years and years, well, I've been years and years in the making for God to finally birth me out. I've been pretty much in hiding and in seclusion, and allowing God to grow me, allowing God to mold me and, into who I need to be before I come out and be able to help some of His people, His children, and especially the young generation. And as I just go through my testimony, I want to just start off by saying with you guys, when it comes to your testimony, it's something that, when you look back at it, it's like, man, if I really allowed it to hold me back and keep me bound, it really would have. But I'm so grateful that through God and with Jesus, I was able to be saved, to be healed, and break free from it. So just diving right in. So when I was really young, and just doing an overview of my testimony for anyone coming in. When I was really young, at the age of 3 or 4, I was molested by a family member, and on a couple of occasions, going out through my childhood years, it kept happening over and over and over again. It's about 3 other people who molested me or touched me inappropriately, and through that led to just a bad lifestyle, because what the enemy does, he likes to sow seeds, and those seeds made me just this sexual person. I had sexually immoral thoughts. I got into pornography, masturbation, having unclean thoughts, reading unclean books, and going through all of these things as I grew up because of what, the enemy sowed when I was so young. And through all of that, it just got worse and worse. It was just adding and adding and adding. And this lasted mostly through my teen years, the same stuff, going through the same stuff. And it got to a point where I was just sick and tired of it. And, because of all the things that happened to me, I developed bitterness, I developed anger, I was mad at the world, and I took my anger out mostly on my brother. I was always, mad at him, being mean to him, and no one would ever know, especially in my teen years, because I masked it with a smile. No one knew I dealt with anger or bitterness. I mean, if any of my high school friends are watching this, oh, hey, Mom. If any any of my high school friends are watching this, you guys know that I was a very happy-go-lucky person, but deep down I was struggling. Deep down I had scars, and God, eventually I was healed. But as I grew up, I wasn't, and I was just filled with this pain and hurt and everything like that. And eventually, I finally got saved. Now that's a very brief overview of my testimony, but it definitely, it was years and years of things that I had to kind of, that I went through, that I put myself through, going through all of that and being able to finally get saved. I got saved at the age of 18, and the year I got saved, actually in March, my grandmother passed away. I think actually it made 3 years a couple of days ago when she passed away. And she passed away in March. And around that time, and I was a senior in high school then, around that time, I was actually getting like, man, she passed away. When someone passes away, it makes you think about, the future. It makes you think like about not the future, but your eternity. So I was getting like, oh, man, I really need to get saved. I really felt the Holy Spirit tugging on my heart to get saved, but I didn't really tell anybody about it or talk to anyone about it. And it eventually went away. I was just like, I didn't really seek God about it. And so I graduate high school. I go through this summer, spending it with some of my high school friends, going here, going there, going out, etc., etc. And then August comes. So remember, I was a senior in high school. So August comes and I'm about to go to college. So I'm about to go to college, and on August 11th, 2019, so remember that was March, so now we're in August. In 2019, that's when I got saved. So I got saved August 11th, and my then the night I got saved, I and what I really want to get this out is when I say I got saved. Now through my high school years, I professed being a Christian. Yeah, I'm Christian. Yeah, and I feel like that's a lot of people now. They say they're Christian, they say they love the Lord, but their lives are not it. And I'm not saying that to condemn anyone. I'm saying that because that was me, and I was like, yeah, I'm Christian and blah blah blah. But you guys, as I mentioned earlier, I was doing all of that stuff: unclean thoughts, unclean movies, unclean this, that, pornography, lust, all of those different things. And I claimed that I was Christian, that I love God, but it wasn't in my heart. And that's why I never really was saved. It wasn't in my heart to follow Christ. It wasn't in my heart to, seek him. And I actually had one person that I knew in high school who was really just like me. His parents were saved as my parents were, or my mom was at the time, before she ended up getting married during my high school years. But his parents were saved, my parents were saved, and he was like the only one that kind of was saved, in school. So that was the only example that I had. But other people, all of my other friends, they claim to be Christians as well, just like me. And I was like, yeah, I'm Christian, and it's just because that's how I was raised. But it's not, it's more than that, because the night I actually got saved, it was a late night, but I deleted so much off my phone, every like wicked thing, every evil thing, everything that was like demonic, movies, shows, television stuff. I mean, the unclean books that I used to read, I deleted it all. And that's when you really get saved, you really do change, because there's a lot of, at least when I was in high school, I would dip and dabble, and I would dip my toe into the kingdom. One night I'll go do this, but one night I'll make sure to read my Bible, so when you really get saved, there's a true change in your heart and in your lifestyle. You want to be different. You want to change. You don't want to do the same things. So I got really saved. I deleted everything. All my secular music was gone. And to this day, I do not listen to secular music. And I ended up, the next day the night I got saved, I deleted some stuff. It was so much I couldn't even get to it. The next day I woke up, I did more deletion, more cleansing of my phone, more cleansing of the things around me. And everything I knew that was wicked was gone. Ungodly shows, television, gone. Like, I didn't have Netflix, but if I did, it would have been gone. Just a lot of things that I used to do, see, watch. It immediately changed me. And that's how I knew that I was really saved, because I was really changed. And I didn't have the heart to listen to music that demoralized God, that blasphemed his name, that, was just wickedness and pure evil. I used to listen to all kinds of music. Like, I'm talking, I didn't get to heavy metal yet. I probably would have, but I listened to like rock bands all the way down to the R&B, to rap, like pop. Like, my playlist was full of all of this garbage. And I was listening to that every day on repeat. Like, if you ask any one of my family members who live with me, or that I live with, you would know that I would sing all the time. And most of the time it wasn't Christian, it was just pure wickedness. And so when I really got saved, I deleted everything was gone. And as I mentioned, I got saved August 11th, and that was literally about, I want to say, because I was a freshman in college, and I was moving into the dorms my freshman year. So I got saved and I had to move in. It was like 2 weeks before it was about 2 weeks, because I think it was like August 22nd when we moved in, or August 23rd. It was one of those days, but either way, it was less than 2 weeks before I went to college. So God's timing was like impeccable. I got saved 2 weeks before I went to college. I mean, what are the odds that happens? Because I was going with my high school friends. Now, I never really been to parties, so I didn't have partying on my mind. But who knows what would happen. But I got saved before college. And those 2 weeks, while I was about to move, I was just, of course, planning, getting things together, just reading my Bible, kind of had some time of seclusion to really talk to God. And I was getting myself ready, prepared for college, and I moved into college. And that was a short experience moving into college, just getting all my things. I didn't bring too much. But after I moved in, I was actually, one of my roommates was one of my high school friends. So we each had our own room. So it was like a 4-bedroom apartment with two shared bathrooms. And so I moved in, and she was one of my roommates. And for, I want to say, the first 2, maybe 3 weeks, because 1 week and like half of a week we weren't really in school or in class. But for like about 2.5 weeks, I want to say, I was like hanging out with them. Now, we weren't doing anything like wicked, but I was hanging out with them, and I was fellowshipping with them. We like toured the campus, which that was like nothing, but we toured the campus. We went out, like I was hanging in their dorms and all of these things. And I just remember feeling like, wow, I'm wasting time. And also, I knew that they weren't saved. So it didn't even feel right to continue to be around them, continue to fellowship with unbelievers is what the Bible calls that. And I began to get like convicted every time I would go and hang out with them. I remember calling my mom, and she could contest to this. I called her and I was like, yeah, they're taking much of my time. And I was saying that because I was usually with them for like most of the day when we would like hang out with each other. And it was literally like eating into my time with God. Like there was a couple days there where I didn't read my Bible. I didn't really talk to God. And I really kind of lost touch with God for a couple days there. We went out to the game. Like there was a lot of different things that we did, and it really took my focus off of God. So, you know, I was hanging out and eventually I remember I called my mom one time and I was like, yeah, I need to stop hanging out with them. And, you know, and what most people don't know about my mom, she's a leader of a ministry, and which I eventually joined, but we'll get into that a little bit later. But, you know, so she's been saved she's been saved since I think she said since I was 3 or 1. I think 3 or 1. I think I was 1. So almost 20 years she's been saved. Back then, of course, it was like 16 years. And with that, you know, I would call her up, you know, and, you know, they taking my time. I need to read my Bible. She was like, yeah, girl. So she didn't say it like that, but I would go and I left them alone. I went and I actually spent time with God. I read my Bible. And then it was like maybe the next day, they had something going on. We were walking. I think we were just walking around in Atlanta. So I go to Georgia State University. So as a freshman, I stayed on campus, and now I'm just fully online as a junior. But as a freshman, I stayed on campus, of course, with them. And I think one day we were just walking in Atlanta, and this was like there we go. And this was like the next day. We were walking in Atlanta, and it was just, I was like, man, you know, I want to go, I want to leave, but I didn't want to like walk back to my dorm by myself. I wanted to leave because it didn't feel right being with them. And then this kind of weird experience kind of happened. Someone came up to me, started talking to me. So it was just all these things. So I get saved, and then I'm right back to where I was, you know, because as I mentioned, the summer before college, you know, I was hanging out with the same people. So college came, and then, you know, here they are again. So after that experience, I completely you know, just stopped everything. I think I could have went back one more time, not in their room or anything, but they were doing something on their floor. And even then, like, I went back after a couple of it was like months, honestly. I went back to I guess see, you know, what was going on. See, it seemed like it would be a pure kind of thing. And then I don't even know. It's like I was like, man, it's just so demonic. You know, it was just a demonic atmosphere when I would be around them because they were ungodly. And you know, so I ended up just completely, I guess I want to say, I had to cut everybody off. And it was hard. I mean, because one of my roommates, she was one of my high school friends, and she lived right next door to me. So I had to just completely cut everybody off. I didn't talk to them anymore. And I had a class with one of them, and I would see them. And I just couldn't afford to waste as much time as I did with them anymore, because I just got saved. And when you just got saved, it's time to grow in God and you know, just really get to know him, get to know his word, you know, and get to know what he's like. You know, you're such a newborn baby, you're influenced by everything. So I went back to my dorm, and after that day, I rarely saw them. I didn't really speak with them, but I had more time for God. I had more time for worship and prayer and seeking God. Prayer in the morning, prayer in the evening, just more time to spend with him. And I had to do it silently. So I silently had to kind of cut them off. But the truth was that God didn't really want me to fraternize with them anyway. He didn't really want me to be around people who are not gonna, help me in my walk with him. Other Christians, So that was that. And I spent most of my college semesters as a freshman on campus. I spent most of my time alone. I was in my dorm, in my room. Now I ended up finally joining a Bible study sometime later down the line in my first semester. I ended up joining a Bible study, and they had a local church, so they would come and carpool from the dorms and pick everyone up and take us to the church. And that was just a real highlight of my freshman experience. And I was able to kind of speak with them, talk with them. We ended up even going on a mini retreat somewhere here nearby in Georgia during the Thanksgiving break, and it was just amazing. And so I had all of those things, and I was alone. I was really alone. And, I would pray like, God, I want some Christian friends. Send me a Christian best friend, that I could talk with, that we can like grow together. And it didn't happen. And what God was teaching me during those times is that all I really needed was him. All I needed was him. I didn't need to go and have all these friends, all these people around me and waste time. And sometimes, you may even have people who are so-called Christians. My friends, they weren't professed Christians or anything like that, but you may have some friends who are so-called Christian who actually are, who's wasting your time. So I had to get along with God, and he really taught me, and that all I needed was him. He was all that I needed, and I didn't need to have all of these people surrounding me, always going out and always having fun, doing this, doing that, all those things that I did in my high school years. He's like, you don't need all of that. You just need me. And it took me a while to learn. It was really tough, because I'm living in the dorm. I'm there most of my time. I had especially I had a couple of classes, so I would go to class, maybe go to the library to study or finish some homework, and then I would go home, and I would be in my dorm by myself. I would just watch movies. I would, of course, I would have my time with God, but I would just watch movies, do assignments. And my friends, when I would see them occasionally. As I mentioned, I had a class with them, but of course we weren't hanging out, but I would see them, and I would just be like, well, hey, how you doing? And what they would basically express to me, they really thought that I was just a busy person, that I was busy, that I had met other people, or that I just had a lot of work, a lot of schoolwork, which wasn't the case. It wasn't the case, but I didn't tell them, nah, God is he don't need me hanging out with you. I didn't say that, but that was the truth. So they thought I was just having a blast, having fun, but I was really alone. It was really just me and God. I started learning to do a lot of different things. I started learning to do my nails. I started doing my own hair, which I did before, but I just started doing that. And finding different niches, and I was still painting because I'm an artist, if you guys didn't know, and just having time for myself and for God. And it was, like I said, it was rough. It was tough. I felt like no one understood me because they weren't saved. And even in my Bible study class, which I really loved, growing up in a Christian household, a real Christian household, a saved, Holy Ghost filled Christian household, that what's wrong, what's right, and probably a little bit more than what you may see at a youth group or a Bible study. So they weren't really talking about demons, demonic spirits, deliverance. things like that. And it's like all of these things I just kind of knew, but you know, even with them, I couldn't relate to them so strongly because it's kind of like I knew all this stuff and I didn't really know who to really talk about it with. So I ended up, like I said, just being alone, just being alone. I would be in my room. I would go, they had the what is it called, dining hall, so I would go eat by myself in the dining hall at like for dinner. And sometimes I didn't even want to go by myself, so I would just go to the vending machine to just grab some dinner. And so that's how I spent my first I guess semester and a half, because we had to move because of COVID, in college. Now, during my first semester, I actually ended up joining my mom's ministry. I told you guys she has a ministry, so I ended up joining. She told me, she was like, God asked me if you wanted to join. And I was like, yes, I wanted to join. So I joined in November, I believe. I have the exact date, but it was in November of 2019. So I was just kind of hanging out those first couple of months in school, just winging my Christian walk, I guess. And and then I joined the ministry. So I joined the ministry in November, and it was held on every second Saturday. So I would they would come pick me up on that weekend, and I would go home and for the meeting and then head back home. And you know, just starting out, it was so great, full of discipleship, great teachings, and I was able to learn so much even at the very beginning. I was learning to pray. We had some fasts, you know, so I was in college fasting and praying and seeking God and we did so much prayer, and I was able to even grow in my prayer in college. You know, I was able to grow. I was able to just allow God to use me and move me, mold me. That's what it is. Use me and mold me. So he began to mold me. But what he first had to do, he had to get me away from all of the distractions, the wickedness and evil, everything that I was, you know, surrounding myself with. He had to move it. So within the ministry, Travailing Prayer International Ministries, I was able to grow within those first couple of months of being saved. And I ended up, of course, you know, I was in the ministry, fasting, praying, and then March came around. And March, as you guys know, March 2020, COVID hit, and they, I don't want to say they kicked us off campus, but they told us you had to leave by a certain date. And we already were home. They sent us home for they did like a 2-week thing. So they was like, okay, we're going to send everyone home for 2 weeks, allow COVID to die down. It never died down. So they said, come back, get your stuff, and stay home. So that's what ended up happening. And as I stayed home, the Bible study did move online. So I was able to do that every Thursday. I think it was every Thursday. So that was great to have. Of course, the ministry was still on and popping. COVID didn't stop the ministry, and the ministry is still flourishing today. So I came back home, and 2020 was a rough year. It was a tough year for a lot of people. A lot of people had a lot of loss. There was a lot of grief, a lot of death. 2020 for me was a lot of growth. Like, I spent so much time just fasting, praying, seeking God. You know, like I came home in March. I did this thing where I was just fasting like every week, like throughout the week, fasting, praying, seeking, knocking, and I was growing exponentially. And God was beginning to speak to me through dreams, speak to me through, you know, his voice. And I would hear what he was saying. I would see what he was showing me in my dreams. And I began to be opened up to who God really is, you know, and what he really wanted for my life. So in 2020, about from March till May, I was praying, fasting, seeking, and then in June 2020, I actually, I wanted to speak in tongues so bad. I don't know why. I really wanted to speak in tongues. I was like, Lord, I wanted the gift of tongue. I want the gift of tongues. And that was something, really since way back in when I was in the dorms in college. And God blessed me with that gift on June 2020. Once again, I have the exact date if anybody's wondering, but it's not in front of me. But I began to speak in tongues at Travailing Prayer International Ministries. I was able to, receive that gift, and it was so powerful, so amazing. And I mean, 2020, once again, I was able to pray with my tongues and allow God to use his gift through me to pray the perfect will of God, as it says in the Bible. The Holy Spirit makes intercession for the saints. So it was just really great, and to know that I'm praying in the perfect will of God. And so I got the gift of tongues. And June 2020, July, August, I mean, the rest of the year was just getting closer to God. Of course, we fasted, we prayed, there's a lot of consecrations in 2020 prayer. We had a couple ministry events. We had the prayer breakfast, which was a powerful move of God. And then sophomore year comes up in college, and my mom, she gives me some wisdom. She's like, you know what, you should just get a job and do online school. And I was like, that sounds good. So I followed her advice, her wisdom. And one thing about my mom, she got a lot of wisdom, y'all. So anyway, I followed her wisdom. I ended up doing the online school because there was a lot of online classes because of COVID anyway. So I was able to have a lot of selections. And so for that, I went online and I got a job close to home at TJ Maxx, working in retail. And so I was working, I was going to school, and I was just growing in God. And I got that job in August of 2020. So just after my 1 year, anniversary of my salvation, I got that job August 15th. And I remember that day specifically because that was actually the same day I got my license to drive. So I got a little late, y'all. I know. But that's when I got my license and I got a job, and it was like, wow, God. And it was the same day, and God, like, he did a double blessing on that day. So I'm working, and then holiday season rolls by, and now it's 2021. And, it's me, my leader, which is my mom, and someone else in the ministry. And it's just, it's really just the three of us at this point. And we go hard in 2021, like beginning 2021, we're praying, seeking. We were actually in 2021 in February, my grandmother actually passed away, and during that time we were on like a 2-month consecration. It's like, if I wish I could remember all the details. It was like just know it was deep, y'all. It was like God had specific instructions for us, specific times for prayer. We were doing midnight prayer. Like, we were going in, and I realized why. I realize why now. You when you're in it, you're like, but I realize why now, because there was a lot of growing that God needed to take us through. So it was February, March, April. Yes, 2 months of that, and then we got off, and then we had our own typical ministry things, and we on another consecration. We're on another fast. 2020 was a year of fasting, consecrating, hearing what God was saying, and just, giving our all. We gave our all. We gave our all. We remained obedient. I think that's the main thing. God, we remained obedient to what he was saying, what he was giving us, and what he was telling us to do. And we just ended up, doing that most of the year. And it was exponential growth in the spirit, you know, like exponential growth as believers. You know, Paul talks about in the Bible, you know, when I was a child, I thought as a child, I acted as a child, but as a man, I put childish things away. And I want to say that's really what happened within the ministry in 2021. We were able to grow exponentially, all of us. and I mean, we took a few losses within the ministry, you know, and mainly because I want to say the heart posture wasn't there. The heart posture to stay for God, to fight, and to be who God needs you to be. So we took a couple losses in the ministry, actually. Since my mom's ministry began in 2017, and it is a 5-year anniversary this year, but since she started, a lot of people came and went. A lot of people. I think it's been about 20 people who came through the ministry, over 20 who came through the ministry, who God had a purpose for and a plan for, but their heart wasn't in it. So in 2021, we took a loss, and it was right before we had these major events coming up as a ministry, and ended up actually getting COVID before we had a prayer breakfast. It was so much going on, and God was really giving us perseverance. My mom already had that because she's been through so much already, but he was giving me, I know for me, perseverance, pushing through when you don't feel like it. And so we went through you know, COVID, which was already a lot, and then we went through the prayer breakfast, which was an amazing experience. That was actually my first ever teaching or speaking I guess kind of event, and we talked about brokenness to wholeness. So my leader spoke. We had Siobhan Johnson there from Siobhan Johnson Ministries, and then I was able to speak as well, and it was really great. And then so that was in August. Now in September we had a retreat. Yes, we had a retreat, and that was a couple days. So we had to, and it was in Tennessee. So there was a lot of planning, and it was just me and my mom, you know, as solid members in the ministry. It was just the two of us, making sure we had everything for the retreat, groceries, planning. It was a lot. And when we got there, it was like a breath of fresh air. And it was like all of the testing, the trials, what we've been through 2021, the fasting, the prayer, the trials, the growing, literally travailing. We made it to that point, and it was like, it was wow. Like, if I went into more detail, you guys would probably be like as shocked as I am about how God moved in 2021. It was definitely just exponential, just really amazing. So we went through the retreat. Amazing experience, you guys. Be on the lookout for the next one. That was 2021. It's gonna be in 2023. So you guys definitely be on the lookout. That's Travailing Prayer International Ministries, and the retreat is called Heavenly Encounter Retreats. So be on the lookout for the next one. Definitely amazing experience. And so yeah, I was just going and growing. And of course, we're still fasting, consecrating, and it's like October. I think it was October we did our first major, I want to say, corporate fast. I wish I could recall the name, but it was in October, I believe, or the one we did in November. We did a lot, y'all. It was in October or November, and that's when God released through my leader that I was going to be birthing my ministry. And she kept saying, man, I keep thinking March, but I don't know, you know? But guess what month it is, y'all? It's March. She was right on the money. And so we I was like, what? Really? And in my mind, they didn't know, but I was like, I don't know, Lord. I don't know if I'm ready, Lord, please. I don't know. And God told my leader, and she said that God said that you are ready, that you're ready to launch out. And so I was on the phone. I was like, I am. Because I'm someone who's very, I guess, I really see myself, you know, the Bible definitely says that you need to self-evaluate. I forgot the exact self-evaluate, but I forgot the exact terminology. You guys know, but you have to see yourself. You have to see how are you acting, what are you doing. So I'm someone who really does that. So when I was like hearing that I'm starting my ministry, I was like, but I have like issues and problems to help. Like, I don't know, like, how's that gonna work out? So, and I mean, I ended up just was like, okay, yeah, okay, you know, I you know, and it was really confirmed for March, more so in December. So in October, they just knew, okay, she's launching in 2022. So I was like, okay, you know, 2022, that could be like later, that could be summer, you know, summer, fall, maybe August. But as we're going through these end of the year kind of consecrations, fasts, and prayers, there was a lot of deliverance going on. And I mean, throughout my whole time in the ministry, I forgot to mention it, there was a lot of deliverance. And if you guys don't know what deliverance is, that's getting set free from demonic spirits, strongholds, and just really being set free from the things that are latched onto your soul. And we were all being set free, everyone in the ministry. And even as we did the corporate fastings with everyone was being set free. So as we were getting the end of the year, we were really getting free. We were fasting, consecrating, praying, and God was setting us free from a lot of stuff, And not only that, he was revealing a lot of stuff, which was really, really amazing. And you know, so we fasted, prayed. In October we had one, November we had one, in December we had one. And I wanna highlight, in October we started with a whole bunch of people, and by the time we got to December, I don't even know, I think it was like a couple of us, maybe three. Well, even in November, after October, it was just a couple of us. And you know, which shows the perseverance. It really shows the heart. Yeah, it was only a couple of us, and we just we stuck it out. We prayed, we fasted, and then we ended up doing as people were doing their New Year's celebrations and stuff, we actually prayed in the New Year's from 11 to 2, 11, 12, 1, 2. Yeah, so everyone prayed. Yes, it was 3 of us. I remember now. It was only 3 of us because everyone prayed in 30-minute increments that totaled up to an hour. So everyone prayed, and it was only 3 of us, and we did that, bringing in the new year. And then in January this year, amazing service, a full deliverance service for one of the members. And then February, I think it was, February, I can't really remember exactly February's service, but then I know in March, that was my kind of ending service, and also the ending deliverance, where I was really actually set free from a generational demon that traveled in my bloodline on my dad's side. You know, because my mom is saved. Now my dad, who's in Florida, you know, he's not really saved. Now, with that being said, my mom did a lot of fighting. She did a lot of breaking generational curses. She did a lot of fasting for us when we were kids, and we didn't even know what was going on. And when she was set free, we were set free from her, the stuff that came from her side. Now I was dealing with the stuff that was on my dad's side. As I mentioned earlier, you know, unclean thoughts, pornography, all those things that I was dealing with was because I had this generational thing within me. So come March, this is March, you guys, this is 2 weeks from today. God works wonders and miracles. And I was set free, completely and totally free, and completely, totally delivered. And this, since then has been a journey, because as I mentioned, you guys, I was listening to a lot of secular music. I was going in on the secular music, and what that did, and also it tied into a lot of things. Even as I mentioned, the generational curse. What it did was really block the voice of God. Now, I would get snippets of it, like as if it was, coming through on certain occasions, certain times. And my dreams weren't blocked or anything like that, but my ears were. And it made it worse because I would listen to like garbage all day with this secular music that's glorifying the enemy, is not glorifying God. I would listen to that all day. Like I listen to music now all day, but it's Christian. and not even that. I don't even try to do it too often, because you want to, if God is saying something, you want to hear him. I mean, I'm just learning that, because that night I was set free, and now I've been able to hear God on a like totally different level because of that deliverance, because of travailing prayer, international ministries, you guys. And I wouldn't be where I am today literally without my mom, without travailing prayer, TPIM, without her pouring into me, and I think of this so many times, like, what if she wasn't saved? Like, my God, where would I even be? I would probably be a junior on campus in Atlanta, probably. Or no, actually, if she wasn't saved, we would have still been in Florida. We've been in Florida struggling to make it by, make ends meet. We would have been totally different people. And I'm just so grateful for what God was able to do in my life. Like it's definitely been a journey, and I'm grateful that I had a parent who was saved. I'm grateful that I had someone who was praying for me, and when I didn't even know it. Just so grateful to have that. And because I know not everyone has a parent who's saved. Some of you guys, you're the only one who's saved in your entire family, and you don't have someone praying for you, to disciple you. And that's why I'm grateful that I was able to have discipleship through the ministry I was in, and be able to actually grow. And that is what has really been able to help me become who I am today. My leader, my spiritual mother, and my actual mother. And just walking in obedience to what she's saying, to hear what she's saying, to grow from what she tells me. And I am completely and totally, utterly grateful for Travailing Prayer International Ministries, for being able to sit under a ministry and just and have the opportunity to flourish, and I was able to realize or come to the knowledge of the fact that I was a prophetic painter, that I paint by the Holy Spirit. Another young lady who came to the ministry, she was a prophetic singer. Another one, prophetic scribe. It was such an open atmosphere where you're able to let the Holy Spirit flow. And because of that, I was able to really, really grow. And and God just has moved in my life ever since I got saved, August 11th, 2019. When I think of it, it's like, man, I've only been saved for August, September, October, November, December, January, February. I've only been saved for 2.5 years, and I've only been in the ministry for roughly 2.5 years. And I mean, what God has done in those 2 years is, it's a lot, because we like we see a lot of people in church for 20 years, 60 years, maybe not 60, 20, 40 years. And, they're the same. And I'm just grateful to be able to sit before you guys and be different than who I was. You know, be different than who I even was yesterday. You know, I've been praying and seeking and letting God know, you know, I wanna live every day different than the last one, you know, better than the last one. And I mean, you guys, it's gonna be a journey. It's gonna be a journey. It is, but I'm grateful for being able to step into my purpose, step into my destiny, into where God has me and where He wants me to be. You know, I'm gonna be completely and totally obedient. And I'm gonna be really open with you guys. I'm gonna tell you guys, you know, things that I struggled with in my past. Of course, today I can't cover, you know, all 20 years, but you know, I'm gonna be really open, letting you guys know, this is what I struggle with. This is what I dealt with. This is how God helped me, and this is what I need to do. And you know, and one more thing I want to mention before I went, as I mentioned earlier, my testimony, I did get saved. And I mean, I did have those things that happened to me when I was younger, the molestation, but within the ministry, I was able to actually go through an inner healing session where the wounds and the scars on my soul were actually able to be mended. You know, when those things happen to you, there's scars that are left, there's marks that are left, and that are just open wounds. And what God can do for you, he can heal you. And if you are interested in even receiving that, you know, my mom, I'm telling you guys, my mom, she's all around. She does inner healing. Her ministry is Marjorie Ministries, and there's a couple of even reviews that she has. And I have to mention that because it's so dire, it's so needed, because I received inner healing because I was like, man. Now I'll share this brief story before I go. I was saved, and as I mentioned, you know, I was molested by a family member, and they came to visit. Now, this is after the whole family already knew. Everyone, you know, I've been forgave him and stuff. Everything's good. And I was like having the flashbacks of what happened. And I was like, Lord, I forgive him, but why do I have all this still happening? You know, like, I forgive him, but it's just not, it's just there. It's something, I'm not forgiving him. I was like crying out to God. And I remember telling my mom, I asked my mom, and in the time she didn't know about inner healing. And, you know, she was saying, you're never going to forget it. And which is true, which is really true, because I mean, I'll never like forget what happened to me, even though I did for a time, but that's a whole other story. And I was like, yeah, okay, maybe that's it, because I was like, I know I've forgiven him. It's in my heart. I don't have any ill will or malice. And then I ended up, you know, years go by. Years of, it was like 1 year, y'all. Goes by, and you know, my mom finds out about inner healing. This is last year. And she is like, wow, you know, this is really good. So she has a couple of people that she tries it. I don't want to say tries it out on, but tested it. And she went through the inner healing session with me, and it was an amazing session. And that year we had a wedding to go to for the family. We had a wedding to go to, and I was just like, I wasn't thinking about, you know, the family member or whatever, but we went to the wedding, and they were there, and there was nothing even coming up in my mind. No memories, no thoughts. They were just who they were, and I was just happy to see them. Like, it wasn't anything within me that hated them, that had bitter malice. Of course, I had forgiven them prior to the session, but I didn't even recall it, you know. And that's what's so amazing when it comes to God. He will do that for you. And, you know, and he will use people, you guys, you know, latch on to those people who actually are for God. So, yeah, and I received that inner healing, and I mean, for a couple of other reasons as well, and I was set free. And I had to share that because that was even vital in me moving forward. And I mean, God, as I said, you know, I just launched. This is my first, this was my first, opening service for you guys. Now, next time, I believe the Lord is going to have me speak on, a topic. I have it for you guys, but you're just gonna have to wait for the flyer. You're gonna have to wait and see. I know what the next topic is, and I'm gonna have that flyer ready for you guys soon. But yes, this is my opening service, and I am so glad. For everyone who tuned in, everyone who is even watching the replay, I am so grateful for you guys, and for sitting, for watching, for listening. I know I didn't think it was gonna be a little bit long, but I wanted to really kind of explain my process. You know, I've shared my testimony before, and I'll probably post it on this page. And you guys know my testimony, but in that video I didn't talk about how I got saved and the things that happened, how it really was for me, the 2.5 years I spent in ministry. And so I'm just grateful for you guys tuning in, for listening, and I am really hoping you guys have a blessed day or evening wherever you're watching this from. I hope you have a good one. Thank you so much for tuning in to Destiny Daughters. Once again, my name is Jalen. You guys have a good one. Bye.